gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Schultz here with you. So glad to have you with us. We got a loaded show on tap today, as in case you missed it, Abraham Lucas is officially back, folks. We did a whole video on it on the channel that you can watch once we get done with this show today. Check that out if you haven't done so already. We're going to talk more about Abraham Lucas coming up later, and also this matchup with the San Francisco 49ers, the week we've all been waiting for. We'll talk about the top storylines heading into Sunday. We'll preview the matchup with the Niners. We're also going to do a Q&A mailbag as well coming up later on in the show. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling here on this fine Wednesday afternoon. We're coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas on this Wednesday. And let's see where everybody else is at in the chat. D-Hawks is asking, what color jerseys will they be wearing Sunday? As far as I know, they're wearing white. They're on the road. So unless something changes, something surprising, as far as I know, they're still going to be wearing white. We'll see. Where else? Where are we guys at today? Chat's off to a little bit of a quiet start. I'm not going to lie. I know that the time, we came on a little bit early, so we might have a late arriving crowd today, but I see Seth checking in from Laverne, California. Tyler is in Vancouver. I got Diana in Yakima. Got Sean in Tacoma. I got Dustin in Prosser, Washington, AKAS in Seattle. Got Steve John in Seatown. Good to see you, Steve John. Chefferton says, hope Abe will come back to his old self. Hope so. Hope so. We'll see. Tacktown Boy says white on navy is going to be the color combination. I won't complain about that. That'll look good to me. Chefferton in Spokane. Where else you guys watching from? Let us know in the chat where you guys are at. I see D-Hawks 87 in Fremont, California. Jamie in Kent, Washington as well. Got a little challenge for the 12s out there today. I want to know how many Seahawks kickers all time can you name? And I'll give you one to start. I'll give you Jason Myers, and then it's up to you guys to figure out who can come up with more Seahawks kickers. I want to see who in their individual comment can come up with the most Seahawks kickers over the years. And a little quiz. Let's see who's got the most Seahawks knowledge here, because I know kickers are not people, but, hey, they're still relevant for this conversation to see who can come up with the most kickers. Joining me today in for Smitty is Joey Peterson. Been a while since we've had Joey with us, as Joey was here from time to time throughout our Madden streams over the summer. Joey, welcome back. Glad to have you here. Good to see you. How you doing, Joey?
I'm doing great, man. If you'll remember, I got on stream, and I think the Seahawks ripped off 2 straight wins in Madden.
So, yes, we need you to bring your luck, because we're desperate right now.
Well,
you may have heard.
That's why I'm here.
Joey is here to clean off the vibes, the residue left from Smitty. F. Smitty in the chat, as always. You guys know how it is. But, Joey, good to see you here. Can you think of, without giving away any names, how many Seahawk kickers do you think you could come up with? I know you're not a Seahawks guy, but what do you think you could come up with?
Genuinely, probably 1 or 2.
Okay.
Not a lot. How many do you think you could come up with?
I could probably come up with 3 or 4. I'm seeing AKAS has the most so far with 2. I see Chefferton with 2. And everybody, I gave you Jason Myers, so everybody should have at least Jason Myers in your answer. That's 1. Who can come up with the most Seahawks kickers all time? Let us know in the chat. Joey, since we last talked to you, you took over our Ravens channel for somebody that was a bum and doing a bad job. And now the Ravens having an interesting year. That team in a very competitive race there in the AFC North. How's Ravens treating you?
Dude, they're treating me great. It is an interesting year. You know, last year was a lot of Lamar's getting carried by the defense, and, you know, he shouldn't win MVP, all this stuff. Their defense is best in the league. Now their defense is one of the worst in the league, and Lamar's carrying them pretty much every single game. So it's been interesting. They've kept me on my toes, but, man, this offense is limitless, and I'm excited to see what they do the rest of the season.
Yeah, so if you happen to be a Ravens fan as well, or just want more NFL coverage, go check out Joey on our Ravens channel. He's doing a great job there talking Ravens football. And last night we got you in on the college football show last night. That was fun talking college football playoff.
Dude, I mean, it's just what we do almost every single day in the office. We
Right.
just got to do it in front of camera this time. It's going to be an interesting playoff. Excited to see how it all shakes out. The next 3 weeks are going to be absolutely nuts.
For our Seattle people, I know Washington is not relevant this year. They've had a down year coming off the national championship. But Washington State's just a one-loss team. They could potentially sneak in. How about those Oregon Ducks, number 1 team in the country? Dylan Gabriel's playing fantastic. I think Oregon's got a great shot to win the whole thing.
Yeah, and I love Dan Lanning. I think he's a class act. I think he's a really awesome coach. You know, if I was one of those guys, if I'm a 4-star, 5-star kid, Dan Lanning's a guy I'd want to play for.
Yeah, I think I would too. He's a player's coach, and he's done a great job with the Oregon Ducks. I know we got some Duck fans in the chat here as well. Let's see. I think Dustin might have the most now. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to be hard to beat. Can anybody top Dustin's number of 8 kickers that he came up with there in the chat? Let us know. All right. So if you want a shout out from Joey, here's what I need you to do right now. I need you to spam S in the chat. I want to see as many S's as we can get over this next minute. And let's see who's going to be the early favorite to be MVP for today's show. I'm going to go ahead and get us a little head start, get the S's going, and then Joey's going to shout them out here in just a moment. So everybody start spamming S. I want you to get loud in the chat as if you're in Lumen Field rocking with us. Go ahead and get things going. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Start spamming S, everybody.
Let's go. Let's see it. We got Seth. He's spamming us. We got Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Sean, Seth. Keep it going. Oh, we got Jeff. He's in there spamming F. Okay, I see you, Felipe, Seth, Cody, Sean, Seth, Tyler. Come on. Tyler's saying go Ducks, baby. We got Seth, Steve, Tyler, Felipe, Spiritual, Steve, Matt, AKAs, Matt, Spiritual, Tyler, Steve, Wesley, Felipe, Steve, Spiritual. Keep it going.
30 seconds in, halfway home. Keep going.
Felipe, Seth, Sean, Steve, Spirituals, Tyler, Seth, Matt, Spiritual, Sean. We got Spiritual, Seth, Sean, Felipe, Spiritual, Matt, Dan Miller. What's going on, man? We got Wesley. We got Matt, Dan Miller, Spiritual G, Wesley, Heth Scott, Felipe Gonzalez, Chief. We got Dan, Steve, Matt. We got Chieferton, Wesley, Sean, Seth. Keep it going. Home stretch. Let's go. Matt, Wesley, Chief, Dan, Matt, Seth, Chefferton, Dan, Wesley, Matt, Sean.
There we go.
There
Nice work. Nice work, everybody. Getting the chat right going. I got about 50 people watching. Our official start time isn't for another 6 minutes, so I'm sure we'll get more people coming in soon. But that kind of helps our algorithm to wake YouTube up. Let them know we're here. Let them know we're doing a show. But glad to see you all here. Dan the Man Miller I saw in there. Matt Thompson. I think Matt Thompson probably had the most. He and Felipe were taking over the chat, doing a great job. Now, I'll be honest, folks, a little weak start when it comes to likes. We're only at 9 likes right now. If you want to start today's show, if you want me to open up a cold can of beer, I need you to like the video. Simple as that. Smash the like button. If you're glad to be hanging out here with me and Joey, no Smitty here today. If you're glad Smitty's not here, like the video. If you're not glad Smitty's here, go ahead and like the video anyway. Whatever it may be. I will crack open my first cold can of beer when we reach 30 likes, and then we'll get today's show started. I don't think I'm asking too much. I just need 30 likes. That's all I'm asking for. 30 likes, and we will get this thing started. I see Matt already liked the video. Thank you, Matt, for that. Let's see. Sean saying, hey, Tyler, I'm hoping we play the Niners. We do play the Niners. Seattle doesn't give you a lot of penalties, and you don't have to do a lot of push-ups, jumping jacks, or drink a lot. When we play the Niners. Yeah, we'll find out. I had to do a lot in that Rams game. I had to do about 50 push-ups and about 120 jumping jacks. It was a long day, and a loss to go along with that. It was not the best. We'll put it that way. 25 likes. I need 5 more, and we'll start today's show. If you want to get involved in the program, as Pat McAfee would say, the program, you can send us a Super Chat. Super Chat menu is listed as follows. $sign next to the chat box. First-time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 will do the old McDonald's song. $10 will take down some shots. $20 to do a beer bong. $50 gets sauced with the Seahawks sauce. And that is how you can get involved in today's show. And if you send in a super chat, you will get priority for the mailbag segment that we'll be bringing you coming up later on the show. I need a lot of questions. Go ahead and start sending your questions in now. But we will prioritize the mailbag questions based on super chats. So we would love to have some super chats. If we get 300 super chats today, you guys know that's a boot. Here's the boot right here. $100 can also get you added to the boot, to the Emerald Club as well, if you guys want to contribute in that way or shape or form. 4 more likes away from starting the show. Let's tell you what's coming up as I see Dan the Man already with a super chat. We'll go to Dan here in just a moment. But here is what's on tap here on this edition of Seahawks Today. The week Seahawk fans have waited for. We will go over the top storylines for your Seattle Seahawks heading into Sunday's matchup with the San Francisco 49ers. We'll also preview the Seahawks and 49ers game as well. And we will do a Q&A mailbag coming up later on. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Dan the Man Miller with a $20 Super Chat. First Super Chat of the day. We'll include this in the mailbag as well. Says, do you think John Schneider is hanging himself with the horrible decisions, yikes, he is making? I'm starting to lose faith in this season. You know, Dan, I've talked about it this week, and I've been real with y'all. You guys know, I always tell you what you need to hear. Not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And it's been pretty head-scratching, some of the stuff John Schneider's done this week. From releasing Terrell Dodson, which I thought didn't make any sense. He's now a member of the Miami Dolphins, which was just bizarre. I did not see that coming. Your leading tackler who started 9 games, you decide to cut? Where does that make sense? And you bring in, now Tyree Snipe moves into the starting lineup. Apparently they were going to bench Dotson anyway, but why wouldn't you keep him around? That doesn't make any sense to me. But then on top of that, some of the other moves. N'Keal Harry to the practice squad. I'm not trying to overreact to a practice squad signing. But N'Keal Harry, I wouldn't pay him a dime to play American tackle football. He can't block. He can't catch. And I understand that Noah Fant's injury might be worse than we initially thought. But my Lord, why are we wasting anything on N'Keal Harry? He is... And I was giving our guy Jack Lotteray a tough time about this because he went to Arizona State and he's a Patriots fan. N'Keal Harry, obviously drafted by the Patriots out of Arizona State. He might be the worst draft pick of the Bill Belichick era. And there was some pretty bad draft picks in the Bill Belichick era. So I didn't understand the N'Keal Harry signing at all. But, yeah, I'm not feeling great about what John's doing. We had a poll question on our community page that went up this morning, and you guys can check this out and vote on it if you want. Should John Schneider be on the hot seat? 65% of you voted yes, 35% saying no. So that seat feels as warm as ever when it comes to John Schneider right now. But, Dan, I think you make a great point. I will crack open my first can of cold beer. I'll do a beer bong for you. Dan the Man Miller. Everybody show Dan some love. Spam Dan the Man in the chat. And we'll do our first beer bong, and then we'll get started with today's show. Cheers to you, Dan. Go Hawks.
Deleted.
There we go. Joey, I think Dan's onto something. What some very questionable decisions on the part of John Schneider here.
Yeah, the Dodson one is insane. And shout out to the Dolphins for swooping in there and getting themselves a really good football player that just was available for no reason at all.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be interesting. I think this offseason is going to be very telling for his future with the Seattle Seahawks, with what he'll be able to do with this roster and the free agents that are pending and who's going to be out there. And
oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said and a lot to be done. We'll see if he'll be able to do it.
Chat, let me know. Why for yes and for no? Would you fire Schneider? What would you guys do? If you had the choice, would you get rid of John Schneider right now? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the chat. I'm very curious what you guys think. Coming up on today's show, the week the Seahawks have waited for. We'll go over the top storylines heading into Sunday's matchup against the Niners. Got a preview of that game, and then we'll do a Q&A mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Let's go ahead and get started with our first segment. First of 3 here on this live edition of Seahawks Today. Joey Peterson here, Tyler Jones with you. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. We begin with segment numero uno right now. It's the week Seahawk fans have been waiting for. Your Seattle Seahawks set to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Their first game off the bye week, a pivotal contest in the NFC West. Coming up on today's show, we will break down the top storylines heading into Sunday that you need to know on today's program. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. If you want the Seahawks to beat the 49ers, like the video. Don't jinx it. If we get at least 500 likes on today's video, that guarantees victory. So why would you mess with luck like that? Just do your part. We need all the luck we can get at this point, coming off a 2-game losing streak, folks. Like the video, and we'll get going with today's show. The Seahawks and Niners, week number 11 in the National Football League. The Seahawks coming off the bye week, 2 straight losses, and they lost to the Niners just a few weeks ago. Now trying to get back on track, trying to save their season. It's been an eventful last couple of days with the release of Terrell Dodson, among other things as well. Let's start with a positive note for the Seahawks, and this Sunday is expected to be the long-awaited season debut of Abraham Lucas. Barring any setbacks, Abraham Lucas is set to take the field for the first time in 2024 this Sunday in Santa Clara. And I'll be honest, I don't know how much we're going to see of Abraham Lucas, if it's going to be him or Mike Jarrow getting the start. At the time of this recording, we haven't been told just yet what exactly that will be, if there will be any limitations put on Abraham Lucas. But just the fact that he's available, that you heard Mike McDonald say this week that Sunday is a very real possibility of him returning to the football field, that's a huge step in the right direction. The offensive line has been atrocious, arguably the worst offensive line in football this year. And now you bring in a guy that, if he's healthy, can be a huge impact player and change the entire outlook of this offensive line if he's fully up to speed and ready to go. McDonald said this earlier this week on Abraham Lucas. I think that the best version of Lucas is going to give us the best version of our offensive line. We want to make sure that he's ready to go, but from what I saw today, it looked really good. He looked good last week. There's a timeline here that we're kind of abiding by, and there are certain milestones and hurdles you need to cross in order for him to play his best ball. So hopefully that's this week. The last time we saw Abraham Lucas at full strength, you got to go back to his rookie campaign in 2022 when he played almost every game that season. He and Charles Cross were the first rookie offensive tackle duo to start 15 games since 1970. And all the numbers aren't great for what he did his rookie season. It was a solid rookie campaign with a 68.5 overall grade by PFF, a 69.6 pass block grade, and a 65.1 run block grade. Lucas, when he is fully cleared, is expected to return to the starting lineup and take back his old job as the starting right tackle for the Seahawks alongside Charles Cross on the other side. Laken Tomlinson has had his struggles at the left guard spot. Connor Williams doesn't know how to snap the football. And then you got Anthony Bradford at the right guard spot, which has been just a mess between him and Christian Haynes this year. But nonetheless, if the Seahawks haven't figured out with their tackle positions, then that is going to help everyone out when it comes to this offensive line and should be a big difference for this Seahawks team as they try to make this second half run from here. What is going to be the score of Sunday's game between the Seahawks and the 49ers? Who wins? What's the final score? Get your predictions in the comments section. Let us know how you think Sunday's game is going to shake out. Before we go any further in today's show, let's tell you about our sponsor. That is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose two or more players in any given category. Get the choice of more or less whether you're talking fantasy points in football. Give me a second. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Give me 1 second, folks. Lost my voice there. Thanks, buddy. Give me 1 second, folks. Appreciate that. Voice just went out of nowhere. We'll tell you about Prize Picks here in just a moment. Here we go, folks. 3, 2, and 1. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. And Prize Picks has got a great deal they're offering, folks. They will give you $50 to spend for free when you play $5. You don't even have to win to get the money on Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. This week on Prize Picks, this is what I'm going with, folks. I got Geno to have more than 253.5 passing yards. Going with George Kittle to have less than 58.5 receiving yards. If I put $20 down and both these hit, that turns into $60 on Prize Picks. Play along with me, prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Up next, let's talk about the quarterback position. A lot of pressure on Geno Smith. Can he win the big game? Geno Smith, in his time in Seattle, has yet to beat the San Francisco 49ers. And with the way that he's played, it's been an up and down season for him so far in 2024. He's looked really good at times. He's looked really bad at times. And the whispers for Sam Howell are getting as loud as ever. With Geno at this point trying to make that playoff push, but also trying to earn a contract extension, I would say, folks, that with where Seattle's at heading into Sunday, with how big this game is for both Geno and for the Seattle Seahawks, for what's at stake, this is the biggest regular season game of Geno Smith's career. Will he deliver? Will he perform? So far this season, he's been pretty accurate, 68% completion percentage, over 2,500 yards, 11 touchdowns, but he does have the 10 interceptions. And to be fair, not all those interceptions are necessarily his fault either. But one thing I keep hearing a lot of people point to is that the offensive line has really struggled, and that's a fair thing to say. But when you are a great player, you don't make excuses for everybody else. It's up to you to perform to that expectation. And Geno, in the games that he's played against the Niners, the stats have not been good. 5 losses, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and the offense has only averaged 16 points per game in those 5 losses that Geno's faced the San Francisco 49ers, including a playoff game a couple years ago. Former NFL quarterback Hugh Millen did an interview with 93.3 KJR in Seattle and was talking about Geno and his situation heading into Sunday, and he said this is a stretch run for him. I wouldn't want to be Geno or his agent going into the offseason where we are 0-6 against the 49ers asking for an extension. You lose this game and you play poorly, that extension's not coming. That's what's at stake for Geno Smith here. Besides just the playoff push, he's got a real chance to earn some money on Sunday. Do you believe in Geno? Type B for believe, D for don't. Get in the comments section and let us know. For the best Seahawks coverage around, you got to subscribe to Seattle Seahawks today as we're bringing you daily news and rumors. We're going to be live with our watch party coming up this Sunday for Seahawks and Niners. We'll do an hour-long pregame show, get you set, react to the game in real time. We also have breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all in one place. If you are a real member of the 12s, you got to be subscribed to Seahawks today. We're closing in on 60,000 subscribers of the channel, but we need your help to get there. Subscribe now, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Last, but certainly not least, on what to watch for Seattle heading into Sunday's matchup is keeping the playoff hopes alive. This is a must-win game for the Seattle Seahawks. I know that it's going to be a tough matchup. Their backs are against the wall going up against a Niners team that has Christian McCaffrey back now, that is starting to come into form, if you will, this Niners team is. And if this Seahawks team is going to do anything, if they are going to make any type of push towards the postseason, you have to turn things around right now. You have to make a statement this week against the San Francisco 49ers and show that you're legit. Look, the division race is still wide open. The wild card race is still wide open. But you cannot afford to fall behind and go to 4-6 at this point. You look at the playoff picture in the NFC right now. You have the Lions at the top seed, Eagles at the 2, Falcons at the 3, and there's the Cardinals at 6-4. You still got a couple matchups with the Cardinals coming up. You got this game with the 49ers. You got another matchup with the Rams here. There's still a chance for this Seahawks team to make the playoffs and win this division. But that pretty much closes. The season might as well be over if you do not get it done this week against San Francisco. That's how important this game is for the Seattle Seahawks. Will Seattle make the postseason? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Get in the comments section and let us know if you think this is a playoff team or not. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video, we certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today. All right.
You all good?
I am all good. Just lost my voice there for a quick second, but everything's fine. By the way, on the next one, on matchup, can you change the top graphic to week 11?
Yes, my bad.
It's all good. It's all good. Will the Seahawks make the playoffs? Y for yes, in for no. Deep C saying no. Aaron says yes. Dennis says no. Josh says no. Nate saying yes. What do you guys think? Is this a playoff team or not? Mad Wolf saying no. So the majority of you seems like are saying no. Not a whole lot of confidence, but you look at this game against the Niners, Joey. This feels like it is a must win at this point. You lose 3 straight, you fall to 4-6. That's I think too big of a deficit to overcome.
100%, especially with how good the Cardinals have been looking over these past 4 weeks. I mean, they've won 4 straight. They were sitting at 2-6, or they're sitting at 2-4. They've won 4 straight, and so.
Yeah.
But you look at that as well, and you think this NFC West is still wide open, but it gets very narrow if you lose on Sunday.
Yeah, and you think about this too. With moving on from Terrell Dodson this week, I feel like pressure's now on John and Mike too, for that matter, to prove that they were right in the decision they made. If the Seahawks defense struggles, if Tyrese Knight has a bad game, everybody's going to be pointing to what you did releasing Terrell Dodson this week. I think that it is crucial for Knight and Jones to play well and prove the coaching staff and the front office that they made the right decision moving on from Terrell Dodson. Are they a playoff team? Tacktown Boys says F no. Palo says yes. Anthony says no. Fumi says it's a hard no. Matthew says no. Charlie says can't go 0-3 in the division. That's absolutely right. Super Chat menu. If you'd like to partake in today's show and be along for the ride today, you can do so. $sign next to the chat box. We're already at $20 right now. Got to get the 300 to do a boot. First time Super Chat, you get the Seahawks chant. $5 do the old McDonald's song. $10 to take down some shots. $20 will do a beer bong, and a $50 gets sauced with the Seahawks sauce. You guys know how it is. When we drink, we score. What? We drink, we win. If you guys want a head start on Sunday, then let's go ahead and set the vibes now and get momentum start our direction, because we need all the help we can get if we're going to beat San Francisco this Sunday. I can tell you that much. Game preview time. Let's break down this matchup. What's it going to take to beat the San Francisco 49ers? We'll go over that, and then we'll get to our mailbag to follow. Use hashtag Seahawks for Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show coming up later. But right now, let's preview this matchup. Our keys to victory, the injury report, my prediction as well. All that begins right now. It is is Week 11 in the National Football League as your Seattle Seahawks square off against the San Francisco 49ers for the second time in 2024. The Niners got the best of Seattle the first go-round at Lumen Field, and the Seahawks coming off a bye, a 2-game losing streak, trying to get back on track with a must-win game against their arch-rival Niners. The Niners, they're about a touchdown favorite, 6.5. The over-under set at 48.5. The Niners, their season's been a little shaky themselves. They're at 5-4, but they have Christian McCaffrey back now. They believe their season is headed upwards from here. Seattle at 4-5. Can they stop the bleeding? And can they prove John Schneider and Mike McDonald right that they made the right call to move on from Terrell Dodson this week? We'll talk about the keys to victory. We'll go over the injury report. I'll give you my prediction as well coming up at the end of today's show. If you're ready for game day, spam us in the comments section. I want this chat to be as loud as Lumen Field. I need at least 300 S's in the comments section. Get those S's going, and we'll get rolling here on today's show. Let's begin with the injury report for the Seahawks and some notable names not playing this weekend, starting with George Fant. He was placed on injured reserve earlier this week with a knee injury. Kayvon Wallace with an ankle injury, also placed on injured reserve as well. He is out. Noah Fant with the groin injury. He is questionable. And then DK Metcalf with the MCL that's kept him out the last 2 games. He is questionable as well. And then Abraham Lucas making his return to the football field. It looks like that he's on track, but barring any setbacks, he should be able to play, but still remains questionable. This is as of Wednesday when we recorded this on our live show, by the way. Meanwhile, for the Niners, their injury report a little bit lengthier than Seattle's. Nick Bosa with the hip injury, he is questionable. Corner Renardo Green is also questionable with a toe injury. And then Chris Conley at the wide receiver position, he is questionable with a hamstring injury. Charvarius Ward, personal reasons, questionable there at the cornerback spot. And then Givens at D-tackle with a groin injury, he's questionable. And then George Kittle, also questionable with a hamstring injury. So some skill position players and a couple corners, most notably on the injury report for the San Francisco 49ers there. What's it going to take to beat San Fran? Let's start with our keys to victory. And when we talk about the Niners in recent memory, we have to bring this guy up, Christian McCaffrey. You cannot let Christian McCaffrey beat you. He has, I'm going to be frank with y'all, I hate to admit this, he has owned the Seattle Seahawks. And not just in his time in San Francisco, but he ran all over the Seahawks when he was in Carolina as well. In CMC's career, he's averaged about 19 carries per game for 115.8 yards, 1.2 touchdowns, and he's been impactful in the receiving game as well with 6 yards per catch. CMC's been a problem for the Seahawks to defend. Even without CMC, when these two teams met back in October, they still ran the ball extremely well against the Seahawks defense. So if you're Seattle, you have to do whatever it takes to take away Christian McCaffrey and limit his capabilities. McCaffrey made his season debut against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this could be good for the Seahawks as McCaffrey did not do much. He was held to 13 carries for 39 yards and just 3 yards a carry, but you could argue that he might be due for a big game potentially here against Seattle after a slow start against Tampa Bay this past week. Who do you got? You going with Seattle or you going with San Francisco? Type C for Seahawks, type SF for San Francisco. I don't want to see any Niners in the chat. Get the C's going. I want to see as many as possible. C for Seahawks. Show up and show out. Let us know. I'll give you my prediction coming up later on. We'll be live right here on Seahawks Today for Seahawks and Niners. Our coverage begins at 12 o'clock Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern. I'll be here. Big Tex is going to be here in the house with me as well as we'll do our hour-long pregame. We'll react to the game in real time, have a few drinks on hand. It is going to be a great time. If you can't make it out to Santa Clara, don't worry. This is going to be the place you want to be. Hang out with the 12s and join us for a watch party coming up this Sunday, live at 12 o'clock Pacific time, right here on Seahawks Today. We will see you then. Up next, let's talk about the quarterback position for the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith. And I'll say this. This is not even necessarily about Geno directly. This is about protecting the quarterback and Geno Smith. This has been a problem for the Seahawks all season long as they have had their struggles when it comes to keeping Geno clean and giving him time to just get the football off. The sack rate that the Seahawks have allowed this season, hide the women and children, folks, this isn't pretty, 7.55%. That's 20th best in the NFL. Yikes. Geno's been sacked a total of 28 times. He might need to visit a chiropractor because that back has got to be killing him with as much as he's been on his ass this season, thanks to that O-line. Luckily, though, help is on the way by way of Abraham Lucas. We mentioned him. He's still on the injury report, technically, but the expectation at the time of this recording is that Abraham Lucas will play. Now, how much will he play? That remains to be seen. But nonetheless, getting Abraham Lucas back will be big. The last time we saw him at full strength, you go back to his rookie season, he was solid. 68.5 overall grade, 69.6 pass block grade, and a 65.1 run block grade. The hope is that you don't just get the rookie version of Abraham Lucas, but that he builds upon the rookie version, that he's even better, that he takes those steps forward, similar to what Charles Cross has done compared to their rookie campaigns. Number 3, let's talk about the veteran in the wide receiver position. That is Tyler Lockett. Don't know what DK is going to look like on Sunday, if he's going to be up to full speed or not, and what his limitations could be. JSN has had his flashes. He was really good against the Rams, and then he was MIA the week prior to that. Tyler Lockett, old reliable, needs to be counted upon. And Tyler Lockett, to his credit, has played pretty well over the years against the San Francisco 49ers. You go back to week 6 against San Fran. He had 4 catches, 65 yards, over 11 yards of reception, 1 touchdown. If that's the stat line he puts up Sunday, I can live with that. I would be more than okay with that. But you got to find ways to get him involved. You can't just ignore Tyler Lockett. So far this season, Lockett has accounted for nearly 500 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'd like to see him get in the end zone a little bit more. His yards per catch, about 13.4 yards per catch so far this season. More Tyler Lockett. Continue to feed him, and I hope that he has a big game. Who will be Seattle's MVP against the San Francisco 49ers? Is it going to be Tyler Lockett? Is it going to be somebody else? Get in the chat right now and let us know who you think will be the Seahawks MVP. Before we go any further in today's show, let's tell you about our sponsor. That is Public Rec. I am wearing their fantastic shirt. Obviously, it looks good, but it feels good too, folks. Let's be real, guys. Wearing nice pants sucks. Who decided that stiff, uncomfortable fabric squeezing your family jewels was the key to looking sharp? Well, here's an early holiday gift from me to you. Those days are finally over. Public Rec's Daymaker pants are here to make you stay comfy and classy this season. They feel like your favorite sweats, but tailored like tailored pants. Yep, super stretchy with an elastic waistband so you can rock them anywhere. Give the gift of comfort to yourself or someone you love this holiday season with Public Rec's Daymaker pants. And for a limited time, you can get 20% off your entire order with code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. That's 20% off when you use promo code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. Not only do I love it, I believe in this, folks. My family, my relatives, I'm going to be getting them Public Rec for their Christmas presents this holiday season. We're all going to be styling and profiling in Public Rec, folks. Public Rec not only has the most comfortable pants ever made, but they have a huge selection of high-quality everyday basics. You can revamp your entire wardrobe with their perfect-fitting polos, shorts, and hoodies. Stop suffering in regular pants and give the gift of comfort this holiday season for a limited time only. Our listeners get 20% off when you use code CHAT20 at checkout. That's 20% off with the code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Say goodbye to pants that put up a fight, because when comfort meets style, you found Public Rec. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Up next, let's talk Devon Witherspoon. Will the real Devon Witherspoon please step up? It sounds wild to say, but Devon Witherspoon has not played that great, in all honesty, over the last few weeks. And I mentioned Devon Witherspoon because he's the de facto leader of this secondary. It's really the secondary as a whole that needs to do a better job. And you think about with this Niners team, what are they so good at with the weapons that they have, with all those skill position players? It's the explosive plays. And so far in 2024, the Seahawks are undefeated, 4-0, when allowing less than 7 explosive plays this season. That's best in the NFL. So if you're Devon Witherspoon, as the leader of this defense, I need him and I need the other guys to step up and not give up the explosive plays. If they can do that, that's going to go a long ways in giving this Seattle Seahawks defense a chance to win this football game. You look at what Devon Witherspoon's done this year, and it's been a bit underwhelming. 51 tackles, only 1 TFL, 3 pass breakups, hasn't had an interception yet. I'm looking for Devon Witherspoon. I need Spoon to step up, avoid those big plays, and also if he can create a turnover or two, that'd be great to see. But I want to see more out of Devon Witherspoon this week. Number 5, I always find a way to bring up Kenneth Walker. And this week for me, I feel like I've almost given up on the run game. If it were up to me, yeah, I would run the damn ball. You guys know that. That's been a common theme of this show for the last several weeks. I want the run game to work, but I have a sneaky suspicion it won't because the Seahawks offensive line is so questionable and Ryan Grubb's done a bad job, and you guys get the idea. So what I'm saying is I would like to get creative with Kenneth Walker, whether it's figuring out some new ways to run the football or using him in the passing game. Find ways to get him involved even if the run game isn't there. Since 2023, Seahawks running backs have averaged 78.1 rushing yards per game. That's 5th worst in the NFL. The Seahawks are struggling to run the football. If the run game's not there, well, why not use Kenneth Walker in the passing game more? He's a pretty decent receiver. He's got 217 receiving yards so far this season to go along with 400 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. Whether it's running the football or whether it's using him in the passing game, Kenneth Walker needs to get touches. You need to get the ball in this man's hands in some way, shape, or form. And you think about the passing game, too, with this Seahawks team. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, they're struggling to pass protect, which would not be a shock to anybody at this point. Well, that's where the screen passing game comes involved. And look who it is. Kenneth Walker. Get the ball in this man's hands. Get creative with it. Do you believe in K9? Is K9 going to step up this week? If you believe, type B for believe. If you don't, type D for don't. Get in the comment section. Let us know. All right, I got my prediction coming up in just a few moments, but let's recap our keys to a Seahawks victory. Number 1, don't let Christian McCaffrey beat you. 2, got to protect Geno Smith. 3, need to feed Tyler Lockett. 4, the real Devon Witherspoon's got to step up. Can't be giving up the explosive plays. And get creative with Kenneth Walker. With all that said, maybe I'm delusional, but I think Seattle finds a way to get it done. Backs against the wall. It's a must-win game. You got to win this to stay alive in the playoff hunt. I'm going with the Seahawks 25-22. Call me crazy, but the Niners have not looked like their old selves. I think Seattle can find a way to steal this game and get it done. If you're ready for a Seahawks win, if you believe, you want to see it happen, spam W in the comments section. Get those W's going if you want to Seahawks win, and we'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. All right. So that's 2 down. And we got 1 more to go. We will get to our Q&A mailbag segment coming up next. But who do you got, Seattle or San Fran? Joey, I am crazy. I am a bit delusional. I probably shouldn't take the Niners, but I probably shouldn't take the Seahawks, but I did anyway. How do you see this game playing out Sunday?
I think it all depends on how available is Christian McCaffrey. You know, how lethal can he be? If he can, I see the Niners winning this one. But if he's limited, if he's not out to his best abilities and still is kind of making his way back from that injury and still kind of being ginger on that ankle and on that Achilles, then, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle, coming off a bye, makes some surprises in this one.
Yeah, I would imagine that or I would at least hope anyway, that there's been a coming to Jesus meeting with this Seahawks team, a real awakening, coming off 2 straight losses, a bye week. I hope and I pray that Mike Macdonald's gotten this team's attention, because whether you liked it or not, and I'll be clear, I did not like moving on from Terrell Dodson. Joey, that at least should have sent a message to everybody that everybody's got to step up.
100%. I think this is the time where, Mike Macdonald, you got to take control of your team. This is your team now. You're the new face. You got to get him out of tough ruts like this, and I think if you can, people can only be happy with what he's done so far in this first year.
Yeah, I think so. Who do you got, Seattle or San Francisco? Matthew's going Seattle. Teddy's going Seattle. Who else? Get your predictions in. I see Hawk fans saying Seattle. Josh going Seattle. Let us know who you think is going to win this. Mailbag coming up next, our final segment, but want to make sure you guys get involved in the Super Chat menu. If you would like to see us have a good time today, here's how you can do so. We've only had 1 Super Chat today. What is going on, guys? Why are we doing this? We're not helping ourselves out here for Sunday. We're not doing a good job setting the tone so far. $sign next to the chat box if you want to contribute. First time Super Chat, we'll do the Seahawks chant. $5, Old McDonald song. $10, take some shots. $20, beer bong. $50, Seahawks sauce. And if you send in a Super Chat, you will get priority in the mailbag. Joey, I think we could still use some questions in the mailbag, right?
Yeah, I was just checking on that. Could still use probably 3 more just to be safe.
Okay. So I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock right now. I need 3 questions in the next 2 minutes, whether it be by Super Chat or by using the hashtag Seahawks. I need 3 questions. That's all I need, and then we'll get this thing going, our final segment here. You guys have had a lot of great comments today, but I have not seen any questions. Charlie the Unicorn says no more DK song. Charlie, if you send in a 5, we can do the DK song. We can do the DK song instead of the Old McDonald song. It's really dealer's choice. We advertise the Old McDonald song, but if somebody wants the DK song, we can give that too. We did change up the lyrics a bit after Pete Carroll was dismissed. But yeah, if you guys want to get involved, that is how you can do so. I need 3 questions. Don't make me wait. We got places to be. Joey and I would like to get home at a decent time tonight, and I don't want to be stuck here all night because I was waiting on damn mailbag questions.
Hey, I've got a 6:45 dinner, so if I miss it, it's only y'all to blame.
What's for dinner tonight?
We're meeting a couple from our small group at Culpeppers.
Okay.
I've never been. It's downtown. It's
what
off
is
Elm.
it?
It's Mexican food.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love me some Mexican food.
Yeah, so excited about that. I've heard good things, so we'll see.
Okay. So Joey's got a dinner to go to. So, folks, get your questions in. That way Joey can make it to dinner on time.
How would you, Tyler, grade through the first, 10 games of his career, 9 games of his career, Mike Macdonald's job as head coach?
So it's funny you asked that because I saw this question posed the other day, and I would go with about a C right now.
Okay.
We've seen some really good moments. The Falcons game was fantastic. The 3-0 start was really good. But we've seen a lot of bad too. So I think a C is about pretty fair at this point. The big thing for me is that Giants game, especially now, looks really inexcusable.
100%. And
we could be having a whole different conversation about this Seahawks team right now if they would have just taken care of business against the Giants. You win that, you're 5-4, even if you had the 2-game losing streak you just had. And I think they should have won the Rams game too. Like, realistically, this team should be 6-4. Or actually, quick math. No. 2 more wins would put them, they're 4-5 right now. Okay, yes, I am right. I'm not a math guy. Never said I was. Yeah, they should be at 6 wins right now. And that's what sucks because coaching did let them down in both those performances. But the Falcons game was great too. Cheverton with a $5 super chat. We'll do the DK song for you since there was people requesting it, unless you say otherwise, Cheverton. We'll put this in the mailbag. Did Mike and Dotson have a dispute, and that's why he got released? So what the rumors were, Joey, on this situation was that Dotson was being told that he was being benched. And Matthew, first-time super chat. We'll go to Matthew here in just a second. He was told he was being benched, and he said, fine, I want out of here. And they granted him his release rather than benching him, and that was the dispute. And although I'm against this, and I would have told personally, and I know it's easy for me to say, I would have told Terrell Dodson, we're paying you, suck it up. You're going to the bench, but we're not getting rid of you. I know that's the easy thing to say, but there's an argument to be made. If a guy doesn't want to be here, then get him out of here. So I get that point of view, but I disagree with it.
Yeah, I disagree with it too, but also in the same breath, like you were just saying, if you don't want to be part of the team, if you don't want to be part of what we have going, then just get out of here, right? We'd rather cut you. But then you also look at it, was he supposed to be a free agent at the end of the season?
Yes, he was on a 1-year contract.
Okay, but then I look at it and it's like, okay, they probably knew he was upset or had a bad attitude before the trade deadline, which was last week. So
why didn't you trade him?
Exactly. Why not?
And he got picked up by the Dolphins, so I am not going to sit here and listen to the fake news try to tell us, well, if they traded him, they wouldn't have gotten anything out of him. Well, the fact he got claimed off waivers means there was some value there.
Yeah, pretty damn quickly, too.
Yes. Yeah. And now the Dolphins get Jordan Brooks, who's having a great year, somehow learned how to cover people, which blows my mind. That never happened here in Seattle. And then you add him as well. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. Shefferton, I'll give you the DK song. Chomping, Mike Max chomping, Geno passes, no one stopping. DK, touchdowns all day. He rules.
He rules.
He rules. First time, Super Chatter. Matthew. We'll get the Seahawks chant going for Matthew here in a moment. Let's answer this question. Why the hell did they get rid of Dotson? Well, I think we kind of just explained that, but just in case you missed, Matthew, he was getting benched, didn't like it, requested to be released, and they granted him his release. I disagree with the decision, and I would have told him to suck it up, but that's what they decided to go with. I know it's been a while since you've been here, Joey, but you know how the Seahawks chant works.
Of course.
Of course. So, Joey, go ahead and start us off. For Matthew.
C.
Hawks.
C.
Hawks.
C.
Hawks. Spam Matthew. Spam Matthew. John, great question. Phobia, rather. Great question. We'll include that in the mailbag as well. I see you. We'll go to the Super Chat menu one more time, and then we'll start this mailbag segment, and then we'll get out of here so Joey can make dinner on time, and so his wife Kennedy will be happy with him. What do they say? Happy wife, happy life?
I hear that.
Yeah. We don't want to get Joey in trouble today. First time Super Chatters get the chant. $5 Super Chat, the old McDonald's song. $10 Super Chat, take some shots. $20 Super Chat, you got the beer bong. $50 Super Chat, Seahawks sauce. I was just thinking about this. Last night, Joey and I, we did our college football playoff show on Chat Sports, and I was thinking, I think I know the entire Peterson family now. You got the wife, Kennedy, dad, John.
Yep.
You got your cousin, Jordan.
Brother-in-law.
I feel like I'm a Peterson at this point, an honorary Peterson.
Yeah, you're going to be in our sibling Secret Santa at this
point.
point.
Sweet. I'm invited to Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep.
Okay. There you go. The Peterson gang. We will get started with our mailbag segment.
Quick question for you.
Yes, quick answer.
Because those two Super Chat questions were kind of the same at the end, how do you want me to do those with the questions in the beginning of this?
You can play them both back to back, and I'll answer them together.
Great. Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll do it that way. All right, mailbag, final segment. Get your questions in, hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat, and then we'll wrap up after that. Here we go. Let's get started right now. It's time for everybody's favorite segment of the week. It is mailbag time here on Seattle Seahawks Today. You guys got questions. I got answers. We're talking everything from free agency to the playoff picture. I'm sure we'll discuss the matchup with the 49ers. We'll answer all of your questions coming up in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. And before we go any further in today's show, want to make sure not only you're subscribed, but you also have your notifications turned on, that you're part of what we call the Noti Gang here on Seahawks Today. Those are the people that are the first to know when we have new content here on the channel, whether it's a live show or breaking news, and you get alerted. You get an alert on your phone that we got new stuff on the channel. So stay up to date with us. Join us for our next mailbag segment. We do these every Wednesday where we react to the questions in real time, and you can be a part of it too. Subscribe now, turn on notifications. We'll get going with today's show. We begin with Dan the Man Miller, the werewolf himself, with a $20 super chat. Says, do you think John Schneider is hanging himself with the horrible decisions he is making? I'm starting to lose faith in this season. Hanging himself's a bit dark. I wouldn't go quite that stretch, Dan, but I get where you're going here. I have more doubts in John Schneider right now than I ever have before. Here we are. It is officially year 3 of this rebuild in the post-Russell Wilson era. The first year was promising. You overachieved. You went 9-8 and made the playoffs. Second year, you were hoping to build upon the previous year, and you still went 9-8 and you missed the playoffs. And now here we are. And John Schneider's got his guy, Mike Macdonald. And I like Mike, don't get me wrong. But is anyone else noticing what Dan Quinn is doing in Washington right now? And he could have easily been the Seahawks head coach. Did they hire the wrong guy? I'm not going to say yes on that question, but I think it's a fair thing to ask. Did he hire the wrong guy at this point? I think it's worth at least mentioning. So that's something to think about. And then you see the way this year's unfolded. The offensive line in 2024 is not any better. In fact, it's actually much worse than it was at the start of the rebuild in 2022. And so that's not great. You spent all this money to bring in guys like Terrell Dodson and Jerome Baker to try to retool this defense, and those guys are gone now. A lot of head scratchers of what John Schneider has done. And if they don't turn this thing around soon, John Schneider might be unemployed. I think that's a realistic possibility at this point in time. The hot seat is cooking for John Schneider. Cheverton with a $5 super chat. He writes, did Mike and Dotson have a dispute, and that's why he got released? Matthew also asked a similar question. Why in the hell did they get rid of Dotson? So the speculation is, and it is speculation, we haven't confirmed this at this point. It's a rumor. Imagine that. We talk rumors in this channel, folks. Is that Dotson was told after the bye week, even though you're our leading tackler and you're the green dot of our defense, you are getting benched. We are going with the rookie Tyrese Knight in your place. Granted, there's reason to be optimistic about what Tyrese Knight has done. Tyrese Knight, in the flashes that we've seen from him, he's looked pretty good. And Terrell Dodson has been notorious for missing a lot of gaps in assignments from time to time, despite leading this team in tackles. So they go to Dodson. They say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to bench you. And Dodson says, I don't want to be benched. I want out of here. He demanded his release. And then he gets picked up on waivers by the Miami Dolphins, and the rest is history. And there's some of you that have said to me, Tyler, they couldn't have traded him. Nobody would have given up anything for him. And I said if they were going to move on from Dotson, they should have done so at the trade deadline. And for those of you that want to sit here and push this narrative that they could not have gotten anything from Terrell Dodson, you are lying to yourself. You don't get picked up on waivers as quickly as he did by the Dolphins without there being some value to him. They could have traded him. This was a total whiff on the part of John Schneider and Mike Macdonald too, because this was Mike Macdonald's guy that he wanted in Terrell Dodson. It was Mike Macdonald that didn't want to bring back Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks, that wanted better coverage linebackers and found Terrell Dodson and Jerome Baker. Keep that in mind. I think that's an important detail here. So I don't agree with the decision. I understand if you want to bench Dodson, but I would have said, hey, look, we got another half of the season to go. You're only on a one-year contract, man. Shut the hell up and go to the bench, and we'll call you when we need you. The decision to release him, not to tell him to just suck it up, was a grave mistake on the part of the Seahawks here. Tito writes in, I do love me some Titos. Still need some more tackle help. What about signing David Bakhtiari? I'm surprised that Bakhtiari is still available at this point. I thought he'd get picked up by now. At the time of this recording, he has not been picked up. But here's the thing, folks. what we see out of Abraham Lucas will tell us a lot. If Abe is fully healthy and looks good, then you'll roll with the punches and you'll go forward from there, and hopefully things get fixed at the offensive tackle positions. But if Abe looks like what he did last year when he tried to return from injury, then you got a problem and you got to go find some help. I don't expect them to be signing David Bakhtiari today or tomorrow, but if Abraham Lucas does not look quite up to speed, or if there's a setback or gets hurt again, then you better give Bakhtiari a call. That's what I think is the situation there. He's kind of on standby potentially. They need to see what they have in Lucas first, and then potentially they could bring in Bakhtiari from there. Should the Seahawks sign David Bakhtiari? Type S for sign, P for pass. Weigh in our pinned comment today. Let us know if they should sign him or not. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS, and they got a great deal they're offering. They will give you $50 to spend for free when you play $5. You don't even have to win to get the money on Prize Picks, folks. It's simple as that. And this week on Prize Picks, I'm looking ahead to Sunday's matchup between the Seahawks and the Niners. And call me crazy, but I think Geno can throw for more than 253.5 passing yards. I think they're going to contain George Kittle. He's a little banged up, too. And I got the injury guarantee. Might as well use it, right? Less than 58.5 receiving yards. I put $20 down on this hit, turns into $60. Play along with me, prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Not LVR writes, if we take a quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft, who do you think we will get? Far too early to tell at this point because the draft order is kind of all over the place right now. I don't think the Seahawks are going to be in a position to have a high pick. They've won too many games at this point, and they're too good to be picking within the top 5. Maybe it's a top 10 pick. If they somehow make it in the playoffs, then that turns into later on in the draft. So it's hard to say. But you look at the top quarterbacks in this draft, you obviously have Cam Ward at Miami. He's my number 1 quarterback in this draft. Shedeur Sanders is my number 2 quarterback. And then from there, it's anyone's ball game. I have some questions, a lot of questions actually, about Quinn Ewers. Carson Beck's stock is plummeting. So I don't know. I would keep tabs on Ward and Shedeur. Shedeur, I think, is more likely than Cam because I think Cam's going to be the first quarterback off the board. But here's the thing with Shedeur. Besides all the shenanigans and everything going on with his father and all that stuff there, who does realistically Shedeur get compared to? I know that he says he thinks he's a combination of Tom Brady and Michael Vick, which is funny because he can't run. But anyway, the comparison that he gets is to Geno Smith. Is that really where you want to go? Like, are we trying to replace Geno with a carbon copy of Geno? I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. So we still got a long ways to go, but the quarterback class is not great. I would like to draft a quarterback if there's a guy that the Seahawks are sold on, but they seem to be few and far between at this point. Justin Goldman. What a name. Writes in, any interest in Phil Haynes making a return? The guard spot's a mess right now for Seattle. Like Tomlinson hasn't been good. Anthony Bradford's been terrible. Christian Haynes wasn't even activated the last game. Phil Haynes, I think, is a possibility. He's not much worse than Laken Tomlinson. He's better than Anthony Bradford. He's looking for a job. I don't see how it could hurt you. I would give Phil a call and add some depth, especially if another injury happens at this point. Why not? Why would you not bring back Phil Haynes? I think he's arguably the best guard still available at this point in time. Played in Seattle for a bit. He could be ready to go. I don't think it's a bad idea. Should the Seahawks bring back Phil Haynes? Type Y for yes. In for no. What do you guys think? Weigh in. Let us know. Time for a couple more. Let's start with Charlie the Unicorn writes in. Should Seattle bring in right guard Nate Davis, cut by the Bears today? Nate Davis is terrible. He is bad. I think Phil Haynes is even better than Nate Davis. I would not waste my time, waste my breath, my efforts with Nate Davis. If this team is signing Nate Davis, yikes. Yeah, that's not a great sign. I would stay far away from Nate Davis. He's not a good option there. Tony writes in, Tony the Tiger. Hi, Tyler. What are the chances for the Seahawks winning the NFC West? Hope it goes well for you guys. Tony, we need all the hope we can get. All the hope, the prayers, everything at this point, because the chances don't look great. If we're going to be honest with you right now, because it's not just the Niners anymore, but the Cardinals look good. The Rams are there. It's not impossible, but there's a lot of work to be done at this point in time if Seattle's going to win the division. But I would put it at a less than 15% chance, and I might be generous saying that. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time. All right. So we are about to sign off. I'll give you guys one more minute. If we get a super chat in the next minute, we'll stay live for a little bit. If not, we'll sign off. But Joey, some very good mailbag today. Some very good questions.
I love the question about the quarterbacks and the draft. And what are your thoughts on Quinn Ewers in the league?
So Quinn's obviously got a good arm. He can be very accurate. He's very mobile. He looks the part. If I were to build a prospect, you could pretty much come up with Quinn Ewers. He looks the part, but he can't put it all together. I haven't seen the consistency from him, and the injuries have been an issue, and in big games too. The Oklahoma game last year, he choked through 2 interceptions. He choked in the Sugar Bowl, played bad against Washington this past year, played terrible against Georgia, got benched for Arch Manning. That's not a good sign for Quinn Ewers as far as I'm concerned. I need a guy that can be consistent, can win those big games, and stay healthy, and Quinn hasn't showed that.
I saw one of our coworkers, Harrison Graham, covers the Bears. He tweeted this out about Carson Beck and asked if he'd seen or if there had been a quarterback whose draft stock had plummeted as much as Carson Beck's in a year. I don't know if there is one, man.
Yes, there is. USC quarterback went to the Eagles, 4th round. Chat, help me out on this. Matt Barkley.
You think Carson Beck's going to get drafted before the 4th round?
Yes. I think he'd be about a 3rd-round pick right now.
Okay.
Matt Barkley was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick, and he should have left the year earlier. He would have been a top 5 pick. Came back to school, fell all the way to the 4th round. But that's the best example I could give. I think Beck still, and because the quarterback class is so much question marks, I think somebody still takes a chance on him in those first 3 rounds.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's crazy how far he's fallen. I mean, I love it. I hate Georgia. I don't like him. But it's just wild, man.
It is. We got to run. Appreciate you guys being here. Watch party coming up Sunday. We'll begin things at 12 noon Pacific. We'll see you then. Joey, thanks for stepping in today, man. Always a pleasure anytime we get a chance to work together.
Happy to be back hanging out with the 12s.
Great time. We got to go. Folks, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Continuing coverage on the channel all week long. Make sure to join us Sunday afternoon, 12 o'clock. We'll see you then. For Joey Peterson, I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks so long. Good night, everybody.